All right, you're still on to the Wednesday edition of New Dawn, and we're here as usual with our first discussion segment. Well, for those of us in Abeokuta and its environs this morning, of course, overnight there was heavy rainfall, and there's been this prediction, heavy rainfall, and it's been ongoing. And the question is, what shall we do? What are the ecological concerns? What can be done within the framework of the challenges that we are likely to face? NIMET has been warning, the situation is likely to be like that. What do we need to do? All the way from Abuja this morning via Zoom, we'd like to welcome our own, the Minister of State for Environment, Dr. IZIAQ ADEKUNLE SALAKO. Dr. Salako, good morning, sir. Well, it's good to see you, sir.
Thank you.
Now, we're looking at the heavy rain predictions and then the ecological concerns. It's getting a little clearer now that we're still likely going to be having this. How long is it going to be? Is there no end to it? In those days, we used to have the dry and the wet season and all of that. Is it going to be on? Is there going to be an end in sight, or people will just live prepared?
Well, thank you very much. And let me use this opportunity to salute all viewers of OGTV from far and wide, particularly in the States. The challenge with our weather, extreme weather conditions, is going to be with us for a long time.
All right. Now, if it's going to be with us for some time, what are the things that we need to do? Of course, I know that for some time now.
So, long time. If you listen to the speech of the Secretary General of the United Nations at the United Nations General Assembly, which took place last in New York, he said it is like human beings, men, we have. Climate change has happened largely as a result of human activities that emit greenhouse gases, that is trapping heat within the earth environment and increasing the temperature of the globe. So it is something we have to learn to cope with.
Honorable Minister, Nigeria, as part
going
of
forward, we will ensure that by reducing our carbon footprints, our emissions, all of us must learn to use renewable energy. We must transit from fossil fuel to more environmentally friendly sources of. Of course, we also need to deal with our drains, with our habits, with the way we build our houses. All these are important things that we need to adapt to in order to build our resilience to be able to cope with the consequence of climate change.
Okay. Well, Honorable Minister, Nigeria, as part of the global community, we are, of course, contending with some effect of the human activities, like you rightly mentioned. We now have deforestation, we now have desertification, flooding here and there, and improper management of our waste. I recall in the past decade or thereabouts, what we used to have as a form of campaign is you should plant trees. Plant a tree where you plant 10 trees where you cut one. Of course, the culture is going away now. The culture is going away. We are not having that kind of campaign again. As a policy, how do you see us changing our orientation to have friendly friendly environmental practice?
Well, it's very, very important. Government has a responsibility, but I can tell you that without our changing our habits as human beings, there's not much government to do. The issue of tree planting is very important because it is trees that removes carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, which is one of the most potent greenhouse gas. So if you plant trees, if you maintain vegetation to preserve our earth, which has no alternative as of now. So for us at the government side, we have programs that is encouraging tree planting, and we have awareness and sensitization programs to encourage tree planting. Only yesterday, I was talking to some of my officers in the ministry, and one of the things we quickly decided is that we are now going to also promote planting of bamboos, because bamboos also offers people in terms of when they want to build houses and they need wood and to construct things. So we're also going forward, to be promoting that so that we can shift from using trees to use of bamboos. And beyond that, when we build our houses, most of us, we see it as status symbol, that when we build our in concrete, which means that when it rains, there is nowhere for the rain enough water accumulates and causes flash floods. So we must also consider that managing our solid waste in a very circular manner, in an environmental friendly to do. Like I said, this is a challenge that is here with us, and all of us has a responsibility to ensure the temperature of the earth has risen, and I can tell you we have nothing. There's nothing we can do. Now is not to allow the temperature to increase further, and that is the target, and that is the campaign we are going out to our people to preach.
Now, Honorable Ministers, now the predictions are coming, and there would also be the backlash of it. How prepared are the management agencies to face these challenges? We're looking at soil erosion, we're looking at flood control, we're looking at desertification, we're looking at flooding particularly. How would you assess the state of the management agencies, the environmental management agencies, to be on standby? Some of these things are unpredictable in the sense that it's not that okay, we have predictions, yes, but then it will just come on. So how prepared are the agencies to meet up with these challenges, even if they occur?
Well, I can tell you that the local governments, the states, and the federal government are doing this, which means every arm of government has a responsibility in one way or the other. Yeah. Senator participated as Minister of Environment, our governor frontline these challenges were there. One of the things that came out of that, the governor of Kogi State, which is to work with all agencies, all states, to mitigate some of these challenges. The Nigeria Emergency Management Agency is working very hard. The state emergency management agencies are working very hard. Has a flood early warning system where we work with the state management, emergency management agencies and the media to ensure that we're able to give very early warnings to our eventualities. So all these things are being done, and I can assure you that resources are being deployed and being mobilized to ensure that people who are victims of flooding and other environmental issues are supported by government to ameliorate their suffering.
Dr. Salako, let me take you up on some of your activities in the ministry. Shortly after your inauguration, I know one of the first assignments was to meet the media and outlay some of the things you want to do in the immediacy. And I recall you saying that it's not going to be business as usual while you held sway in the ministry. Perhaps you want to tell us some of the things that were done in the past that was not good and you want to change as it were to have a very clean environment. The business as usual.
Okay.
Hello, Honorable Minister.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Can you come with the question again, please?
Okay, the question again. I said after your inauguration as a cabinet member in this present administration, I know you settled down immediately, and some of the things you said to the media then was that it's not going to be business as usual while you host way in the ministry. Perhaps you want to tell us some of the policies you want to bring on board, at least to give us the clean environments as it were that we need.
Thank you very much. One key thing that we're going to do is to create a national system for better management of our solid waste. If you go around Abeokuta today, or indeed any part of Nigeria, what you see is that most of our drains clogged with plastics. And these plastics can be better managed in a circular manner to ensure that they create employment, generate wealth for our people. Whereas we're doing some level of circular management of recyclable waste, but these things are being done in silos, bits and pieces here and there. We want to create a national system where every state, every subnational government can plug in to ensure that we manage our solid waste better. And that is also going to help us with the challenge we are currently facing with flooding. Another thing that we have designed is to increase our level of sensitization. And you will notice that in the last 4 or 5 weeks, I'll be very because I believe that it's only when we engage our people on a continuous basis that we can change some of the habits that are detrimental to the environment. So we are going to see us engaging the media very, very regularly. They are going to see us promoting environmental sustainability, environmental responsibility in the media through all kinds of initiatives. We are also going to see us
Well, it looks like we've lost the Honorable Minister there, but the moment he comes on now, I'm sure we will be okay.
Well, Honorable Minister, are you still there? Can you hear us? Hello, sir.
Okay. Maybe he can unmute himself. You could unmute yourself, sir, and then... okay. You're on, sir. Okay.
I think
you can take the question again, Femi. And
so these are some of the initiatives that we are coming on board. Like I said, we're going to be doing a lot of tree planting. We're going to be doing a lot of activities around our coastal regions, the coastal states of Nigeria, including Lagos, some part of the states, Ondo, and so on. We benefit massively from the intervention of the federal government in the coastal region going forward.
Now, Honorable Minister, some people feel this tree planting thing is always, some cynics actually they feel that this tree planting exercise is just a show. You just call one or two people, you just go to, you know, it's more or less like a symbolic thing, that there is no actual action, you know, when it comes to tree planting. What you just see is, you just see one group, they will just go in one corner, they will plant one or two trees, and that's what some cynics say, and that's not to deride whatever action has been done by the ministry. But then, maybe you will give us more enlightenment in that direction. What activity is being done to actually bring to fore, much more concretely, the tree planting exercise on a larger scale, beyond the pockets of the symbol or symbolism of tree planting that people have seen for some time?
Okay, thank you very much. The Federal Ministry of Environment has an agency called the National Great Green Wall Agency. And the sole duty of that agency is to plant trees. However, when the agency was started, the concentration was on the northern part of Nigeria. The frontline states, 11 frontline states that are more susceptible to the challenge of desert encroachment. Going forward, we are already looking at how to extend the boundaries and to ensure that other states in the Federation benefit from this massive tree planting by the Great Green Wall. And I can tell you that in the last 7 to 8 years, the Great Green Wall must have planted over 1 million trees in the frontline states in the northern part of the country. We also have the Forest Research Institute of Nigeria in Ibadan, which is also engaged in tree planting. The Forest Department of the Ministry is also engaged in tree planting, and all these are ongoing. Of course, the states also have a responsibility. The local governments also have a responsibility. But more importantly, I must tell you, government cannot plant trees everywhere. If you decide to plant trees in your compound, around your area, it will also, at the end of the day, imagine 200 million Nigerians, each of us deciding to plant 2 trees. That is 400 million trees. For government to plant 400 million trees, you know how much it's going to cost and how many years it's going to take. So this thing is going to go beyond government intervention alone. All of us as individuals, as patriotic citizens of the globe, must consciously plant trees around us. We must plant in our compounds, we must plant in our frontage. Everywhere we are, we must promote planting of trees. So a lot of times when government does it, it is to sensitize and to promote, because we know that government cannot really cover the whole area that needs trees to be planted.
But beyond that, Honorable Minister, if you recall that just about a month ago, the Great Green Wall, you know, had a meeting with the House of Representatives, you know, and a lot of the accusations going on about spending and all of that, and now, and that's also one of the challenges, you know, states will talk about the fact that they've not received the ecological fund, or they've not shared it well, they've not, you know, how is that synergy? How is everything going to be harmonized in such a way that, you know, all of these discrepancies or discomfort or whatever is minimized to the barest level?
Well, thank you very much. The issue of the Great Green Wall and the appearance with respect to the appearance of the Great Green Wall agency at the National Assembly, I can tell you that, and I'm sure that the House of Representatives Committee that the Great Green Wall face will eventually come out to clarify that what they said at that time was not totally correct.
But they shut out journalists. They didn't let journalists
that brought the Great Green Wall into being envisaged that 15% of ecological funds will be made up.
Okay. Well, in case we're missing some of this, we're having some of these challenges, it comes on very shortly. I would sincerely apologize for that, and we're looking at a very critical issue here, and I'm sure the Honorable Minister is still going to join us. Sometimes issues like this happen in the course of the discussion, and okay, you're welcome back.
Oh, okay, so I was saying that the law that brought drinking water into being provided that 50% of ecological funds should be made available to drinking water.
Okay.
However, because of the numerous ecological challenges in the country,
Okay.
for some years now, the drinking water has only been receiving 5% of ecological funds. Unfortunately, the committee that sat over this issue did not have that information, and they calculated based on 15% instead of 5%. The Great Green Wall has since visited the committee to clarify that they only receive 5%, not 15%. And that is why I said I believe that going forward, that committee may be coming out to clear the situation that what they said at that time was based out of a communication gap. So, well, you know that media sometimes we love sensations, but I want to assure you that everything is being done to ensure that all cover of government is spent judiciously in the Federal Ministry of Environment.
Honorable Minister, sir, most of what we're discussing, the problems of the environment, were caused by human activities, urbanization, improper management of waste, and all whatnot. Of course, we have regulations, we have laws, and these, all of them put together, have failed us. Do you think the regulations, the laws are weak, or what approach do you think we can use at least to curtail this unhealthy relationship between man and the environment that we are talking about?
Well, for me, I don't think it's really because the laws are weak. Fact of the matter is that a lot of people did not believe that there's any issue with climate. You can even remember a former president of United States of America came out publicly to say what is climate change, it's blah, blah, blah. So quite a number of the political authorities did not believe there was any issue around climate change until recently. And you saw that our industrial activities, the way we power our homes, the way we power our cars, were very inimical to the environment. We are just realizing it, and now, well, in a race, as it were, to halt this doom that is staring the globe in the face. So the laws are there, but I think that some of the laws need to be strengthened in terms of, for example, preserving trees. In some countries today, you cannot just wake up tomorrow and cut down trees. We need to do such things. We need to also enact better laws and stronger laws on how to manage our waste, how to build our houses. Some of those laws are there, they are not being enforced. So it is a multiplicity of factors, one in terms of weak laws, poor implementation, and more importantly, lack of political will, which is global until recently.
But Honorable Minister, what do you think we can, but these predictions are staring us in the face, and there's nothing anybody can do, just like we were saying before you came on set, or in the course of something, overnight even in Abeokuta here, we had, some form of rainfall, heavy rainfall, and it looks like the trend is going to continue. So what do we do in the interim? What do we do immediately? What can the people do? For example, houses cannot be removed now. Houses that have already been built on, on walkways or waterways cannot be removed now. But what can be done? What would you advise that people do immediately within the reach, such that we can mitigate the effect of this challenge, whatever it happens?
First is that let me use the opportunity to say that Abeokuta, Ijebu-Ode, and I think Shagamu are three cities that NIMET has predicted and envisage to experience heavy rainfalls, which may result in flash floods. And so those cities need to be prepared. The first thing is that those who are living in floodplains need to evacuate, because life is precious, and you cannot say you want to protect your property and lose your life. So if you are in a floodplain or flood-prone area, the first thing is for you to evacuate and look for alternative accommodation, so that pending the time this flood issue at least can momentarily resolve. That is the first thing. The second thing, of course, which is being done by the State Emergency Management Agency, is to take a census of those who are affected by these things, so that some form of support can be provided for them. In some instances, some temporary accommodation can be provided. All these fall within the mandate of the state government, supported by the National Emergency Management Agency. Those are not the mandates of the Federal Ministry of Environment, but these are important things to do in terms of people to evacuate. People should clean their gutters, so that there can be some free flow of flood water, and those who have not, who are built on floodplains should evacuate. Again, government should also need to be more strict in terms of permits for building houses. And I say that even all of us, we need to also to be more strict. If somebody is building on the wetlands around us, and all of us are looking, we do not shout out. At the end of the day, when the consequence comes, it will affect all of us. So we also need to be more patriotic, more environmentally responsible going forward.
Honorable Minister, let me say that you are in a familiar terrain. Of course, this is the first time you've been in the Ministry of Environment. I recall that while in Ogun State, you are severally Minister of Housing, Commissioner for Housing, Commissioner for Health, and of course Agriculture. And these are areas that exposed you to the environment, as it were. And of course, as a public health physician, you must have had some kind of experience with the environment. The crisis we're talking about, the imminent crisis we're talking about, is prone to affecting food security, because when the flooding comes around and wash away the farmlands and all whatnot, what do you think we should do as a nation? Should there be a national policy on food security that will take care of farmers who are prone to experiencing this kind of risk we're talking about, so that at least they will not plant where possibly flood will wipe out their investment?
Okay, well, the issue of food security is very important, very key. It's number one on the agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Is a point agenda. And we know that climate issues can negate food security. One of the key things we're doing is to also introduce what we call flood insurance, which can help farmers and generally people secure their investment against flooding. So I think that once we are able to implement that, can help farmers to do that. Again, a lot of times, government is also able to offer some form of palliative and support to farmers who suffer losses as a result of flooding. But more importantly, we should also be able to design strategies to take advantage of flooding, because flooding means more water, and we need water for agric, which means that if we are able to store the water, if we are able to properly channel the water, we are able to properly build dams to keep the water, we can actually do all year-round farming as a result of increased rainfall. So what we need to do is, as we are looking at the negative side of flooding, we must also be looking at the positive side. How do we make use of the excess water as a result of increased rainfall? These are strategies that we're looking at the federal level, working with the Ministry of Water Resources, working with the Ministry of Agri, and ensuring that we're able to support our farmers to take full advantage of this.
Now, Honorable Minister, what's the relationship like between the national and the state emergency management agencies? How strong is that synergy? Or is the state autonomous, or is there a kind of relationship, that that can enhance proper action in case of challenges that we might experience?
Well, I can assure you that there's a very good relationship between NEMA and SEMAS. NEMA cannot come into any state and do anything on their own. They work with the state emergency management agencies. Only yesterday, the governors of Bauchi and I think Cross River at the meeting summoned by the Vice President were talking about the activities of NEMA in their states, cooperating with their SEMAS. So there's a very, very good collaboration. And in the Federal Ministry of Environment, we also have good collaboration with the SEMAS. In fact, there's a platform where all state emergency management agencies are, and they work with our own officers in the Federal Ministry of Environment to receive warnings, to receive directives, and to receive support in managing environmental disasters.
Okay, and that's a good one to note. And then, of course, NIMET is also there. Now, about 13 or more states now, this alert has been given, to Adamawa, Borno, Gombe, Bauchi, Kaduna, Plateau, Taraba, Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Kogi, Kwara, Oyo, Osun, Ekiti, and Ogun State. And, so that means beyond all of that, attention should be more on the states. How would you assess the preparedness, from your own perspective, of these states, to be able to handle imminent challenges, even if they are poor?
Well, I think preparedness for such disasters like flooding can never be enough. Because if you look at what is happening in Libya, for example, or even in Europe, Greece, Spain, even in the United States of America, in New York, in Nevada. So you can never have enough preparedness when it comes to issues of natural disasters. Because most of the time, they come sudden and overwhelming. But from what I've gathered in my interaction with governors of some of these states, I think that everybody is taking this issue very seriously, and everything is being done. Like I said, only yesterday, an emergency meeting was summoned by the Vice President, and the governors of some of these states were present to brief the Vice President on their preparedness and to also request for some of the support they need for federal government. And everything is being done. There's already an emergency committee on ground to ensure that it can be rapid response to some of these challenges.
Well, Honorable Minister, moving forward, what should Nigerians expect from the present administration, particularly from your ministry?
Well, Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has come out with an 8-point agenda. And of those 8-point agenda, we have identified 5 that the Federal Ministry of Environment and Climate Action is central to achieving. We have identified the issue of food security, and I've spoken about that earlier on, how the Federal Ministry of Environment is going to support food security through prevention of environmental disasters that can affect farmers, through promotion of flood insurance, and through strategies to make use of excess water for all year-round farming. So we're going to support food security in that manner. We are also central to human security, physical security itself. You will find out that quite a number of the security challenges that we are facing is a result of climate issues. If you go to, for example, the Chad Basin and some of the far northern states, there's a lot of migration And if you are looking at the farmer herders clashes, is actually largely as a result of drought. People are leaving dry areas to wet areas. And if you are able to avert drought or to arrest drought, you can also arrest some of these security challenges. So by taking that on board to ensure that we do programs that's able to avert or to arrest drought. Again, we are also very important to the issue of poverty, because the president has also prioritized eradication of poverty as part of the program. So you see us doing programs to generate employment, doing programs to create wealth. For example, I talked about the cyclical system that we want to create. We call it Cyclical Nigeria, which is a national program to ensure that our recyclable waste, plastic, batteries, aluminium, paper, and so on and so forth.
Okay. We load the signal again. We hope the Honorable Minister will join us in a couple of seconds from now.
And it's talking about very strategic
Exactly.
point there about Cyclical Nigeria and what they're still going to be doing. And we want to hope we'll be able to get in within the time frame that remains. It's very important for us to get that fact, and then maybe we might bring the discussion to a close from there. And he's talking about the things that we should expect, and we hope that we will be able to get the Honorable Minister back any moment from now. But Femi, I think from what we see, okay, you are on. You're welcome back.
So just to round up, the Federal Minister of Environment is also the national authority for promoting green bonds.
Okay.
That is raising money from the capital market to execute green projects. And we have gone through, we have done the first green bond, we have done the second, and now we're about doing the third green bond, which is going to help us raise money to support the initiative of Mr. President to execute green projects across the nation. So those are some of the priorities of the Federal Ministry of Environment going forward.
All right, we want to thank you very much for giving us this time, this Wednesday morning, to look at heavy rain prediction and the ecological concern. And we really appreciate your time. It's quite enlightening for us. And we can only wish you well. You've been a man of many parts now, so we are confident in Ogun State that by every standard you will deliver. And we wish you the best. We'll be speaking with the Honorable Minister of State for Environment, Dr. IZIAQ ADEKUNLE SALAKO. Thank you once again, Honorable Minister, for being part of New Dawn, the Wednesday edition.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Right.
All right. You're still watching the Wednesday edition of New Dawn. We'll take a break now. When we come back, it will be time for another discussion. Stay with us.
Following the release of an updated 2023 water release forecast for flood control by the Ogun River Basin Development Authority, effective from September 2023, and the high rainfall being experienced as predicted by NIMET and other related agencies, Ogun State government wishes to alert residents, especially those in the downstream of the Ogun River, of the likelihood of experiencing heavy flooding from this month. The affected areas include Inhabitants and property owners in the listed areas across the states are hereby advised to move upland immediately to avert unforeseen disaster. Residents and property owners are also enjoined to take the following preventive measures against flooding: enlarge small and inadequate drainage systems and construct more drainages to contain excess runoff. Stop using river channels as waste repositories. The citizens should ensure proper maintenance and desilting blocked drains. Road users should desist from walking or driving through any pool of water or flood. Strict adherence of regulations banning building and residents in flood-prone areas, and evacuate any development encroaching the waterways during the rainy season for safety. The safety of citizens' lives and property remain the utmost priority of the state government. Announcer Wale Shonde, Director, Ogun State Emergency Management Agency.
you're still on to the Wednesday edition of New Dawn, coming to you live from Ogun State Television in Abeokuta, the Gateway State. And right here this morning, we have another guest in the house. On December 19, 2011, United Nations General Assembly adopted Resolution 66-170 to declare October 11th, which is today, the International Day of the Girl Child. And before she came on set here, she's been giving us attacks here. God, we have to deliver the men. She was asking for the women. The girl, we have right in the house to look at this issue. A child rights advocate, a serial entrepreneur, a farmer, a teenager's coach, Modupe Olatunde. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for having me.
No, I want to assure you our producer is a woman.
Though I would have loved to have a woman beside me. Why am I in the middle of two men?
No, it's the producer. You should be the producer.
Fathers, it's not about you today, it's about us.
It's not, well, it's not.
Thanks. Thank you.
Congratulations, let's say the International Day of the Girl Child.
Thank you very much, sir.
For some time now, the girl child rights had been on, and and then it's getting more pronounced. Even I think some years back for the women, it was the Beijing Declaration. Now, but in this our part of the country, in Nigeria generally, how would you assess, the emphasis that has been given to the girl child?
Well, honestly, last night I had a video of myself coming to OGTV for the past 5 years.
Okay.
And I was trying to have a deep thought.
Okay.
To console myself if things are actually going the way I'd envisioned it about the girl child.
Okay.
I won't tell any lie.
Okay.
I'm not satisfied.
Okay. Why?
I live in a country home.
Okay.
So from my end, I see more of the hazards that a girl child is prone to than those that live in the city.
Okay.
I move from one secondary school to the other. I do this every time.
Okay.
I talk to the ZEO, and it's a passion I have been carrying about for about 17 years now.
Okay.
Talking to this young girl, the importance of education and the need for sexual purity for now.
Okay.